What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I just wanted to say real quick, if you enjoy the video, if you could give me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. And feel free to make any comments you have about opinions or questions. Hope you guys enjoy. What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about fixed blades and what is the right one for you. Particularly which category of fixed blade is the right one for you, kind of with multiple variables in there as to why. So to get started, I want to talk about really three categories of fixed blades. In my mind, there's bushcraft, tactical slash combative fixed blades. They're really just meant for fighting. They're not meant to cut anything, open boxes, that sort of thing. And then work knife or utility knife, that they are not meant for fighting. That's just not what they're designed for. They don't have the right size. You fill in the blank. They're meant for cutting boxes, cutting string, used on wood. I mean, work, whatever you can imagine that would be for you, work. So that's the three categories that I'm really going to be dabbling in today. So we'll go ahead and start off with category number one, which is bushcraft. So bushcraft, this is obviously the bushcraft knife on the table here. They're bigger, usually. Honestly, all of mine are not that expensive, to be honest. I've found that they work in the times that I've went out camping or explored, building fires or setting up tents or whatever it may be, really obviously out in the woods. For me, it would usually be camping. I don't do anything too crazy bushcraft. That's not really what this channel is about, but it is a fixed blade category, so I threw it in. So if you're not doing a ton of camping, a lot of bushcraft, survivalist stuff, and maybe farm work, you could throw that in there. If that's not you, that's really not the category you're even going to be considering. If you're looking at blades like this big, that's probably just not quite the category for you, especially regarding an EDC type of talk. So that leaves us with the two categories that you would consider. So up next was kind of the tactical slash combatives. These two are sort of obviously they're combat knives. Like you can especially tell for this one, it's double bladed, bladed on each side. It's got a point. Nothing about this is going to be really good for cutting string or opening boxes. Like, I hope you're not pulling out something like this to open a box. But so obviously this is meant for tactical use. Like, this is meant that you're going to pull it in a worst case scenario, and you might even fight with this. One thing about fighting with knives, I will say, you better know what you're doing. Even I'll admit, I'm not some expert knife fighter. For me, pulling a knife is going to be kind of a last resort thing. It would have to be a really crazy scenario, but nevertheless, I do have it in case, because there is some situations where I could see it happening. This is just kind of another style of a combat knife. You could almost put this in the bushcraft category just due to the size a little bit, but you're certainly not going to be pulling this out to open boxes either. Or probably not work on the farm. It's a little bit slim. It's meant to be really light and concealable so that you could pull if you had to in a really terrible situation. So that is the tactical and combatives. And then lastly, and really probably I would say the most used, is the work knives. So these knives are going to be just durable, strong knives that are meant for, well, like we said, work, utility use, opening boxes, cutting, you name it, farm work and whatever. Like this Essie is certainly in the work category because they put a nice finish on it to help resist rust and whatnot. It's 1095 steel, so it's nice and sharp. It's got a good handle on it. This obviously is not for bushcraft, and it's not really for fighting. Of course, anything that is sharp you could use for fighting if you had to, but that's not really the point of either of these. I mean, obviously, look at this. It's got a blade up, down the side, and it's got some serrated here. This is a really good little work tool slash knife. It's really one of my favorites, especially since it's small. You're not carrying any more than you need, and I think that is perfect. So really, that's kind of the two categories of knives that you're really going to get into. And I think what's going to make you need to make some choices is maybe, so this is assuming you also carry a pocket knife, because I obviously think a pocket knife is a pretty standard EDC item if you're looking at this stuff too. So if you don't carry a pocket knife at all, I would recommend, I would still go work. I would go utility, unless you carried a really good multi-tool like a Leatherman. If you're carrying something like a Leatherman that also does have a blade on it that you could use for work, I would maybe go with a combat blade, something that's designed for tactical use. If you're not carrying a pocket knife at all, I would go tactical, assuming you do carry a multi-tool. But if you don't, if you carry a pocket knife and you carry something like this is an automatic knife. This knife is also not meant for opening boxes. This is tactical purpose. Obviously, I know a lot of people, like, if this is all I had and I need to open a box, I am going to use this. But that's really not the purpose of this knife. I mean, if you ever had a box that you need to get opened as quickly as possible, so you whip out your automatic knife to have a quick action to cut the box. No, this really is meant for fighting as well. It's got the straight edge blade. That's what it's for. So if you're carrying a pocket knife that technically is meant for tactical use, why would you also carry a tactical full tang? You're definitely going to carry a work one, because quite honestly, I don't want to pull this to open a box or really get it dirty or whatever. I want to make sure that this automatic action works, that the blade is nice and sharp, and that it's ready to go if I ever did need to use it. And obviously I say if, and hoping that I never do. You really don't want to get in a knife fight, but I mean, there's a possible situation where maybe it's somewhere you cannot carry a gun, or the situation is that you just really don't want to carry a gun. Or you just don't want to use a gun on the individual or individuals, depending, because it would just look really bad for you. Even if you are obviously following the law in America, you have the right to protect yourself. And unfortunately, especially in certain states, that is not ruled accordingly to the law. So you obviously have to consider that in what you're doing. Like, I know for me, what's a crazy example? Let's say three people try to rob me, and they do happen to look about 18. And I don't really know, obviously they might be older and they might be younger. I personally am not really going to want to be in the news, adult pulls gun on 17-year-old. Obviously a knife isn't that much better, but I would rather just pull a knife, hopefully scare them and make them leave. That might not be legally correct. To me, it just makes more sense. I'm going to be very hesitant to pull a gun on anybody that has not pulled a gun on me. I would hope other 17-year-olds don't have a gun. Obviously, if they do and they pull it, that's going to change things. But also 3, 4, 17, 18-year-olds versus one guy, that can get a little sticky, obviously. That's kind of like a real extreme scenario. That's just the only one that could pop to my mind that I'm maybe not going to automatically pull a gun, because it's kind of the way it works is, for a gun, you have to make sure that you feel like your life is in imminent danger to pull it, and especially to use it. So in court, someone could argue, this was 3 17-year-old kids. How did you feel that your life was in danger? They didn't even have a knife. So just a knife and gun, two different categories, two different levels, two different level of haters towards guns. There's not too many people out there attacking 3-inch knives. So that's just kind of a crazy scenario, kind of to rant off there. But yeah. So if you're carrying a tactical knife, pocket knife that's really meant for combat, which you need to understand that as well, then yeah, carry a work blade. But if you're carrying a knife that is more, what's one? So this is just a cheap knife. Obviously, yes, it's sharp. You could use it for fighting, but this is a cheap, really a beater knife is what you could call this. I mean, I am going to use this for work. If anything, I'll use this to cut open boxes. I really just have it because it looks cool. But I'm not really going to fight with this either. So this is a pocket knife not meant for fighting that I am going to open boxes with. I'm not going to double up on a full tang that I'm going to open boxes with. So tactical pocket knife equals work full tang. Work pocket knife equals tactical full tang in simple terms. So It's not a crazy or super complex topic, but I do see people that they're carrying like an out the front switchblade that's obviously meant for fighting, like the Benchmade Infidel. I'm not using my $400 Benchmade Infidel to open a box, but then they'd also be carrying like this. So they're carrying two fully tactical, meant for fighting knives. Obviously, there's bigger mistakes you could make, but why not carry something that can be really good for work and utility purposes, and at least to even just really save something like that, because especially those really nice tactical knives, they get pricey, so you want that thing to stay nice if you're actually spending that kind of money with the intent of a tactical or defensive use. Hopefully never, but it's possible. I personally am going to want to keep that nice. It's kind of like your top everyday carry pistol, your concealed carry pistol. You're not going to go take that out hunting in the mud. You want to make sure that stays clean, it stays nice. I feel and think that same way about my full tang knives, especially the tactical ones and the pocket knives as well. So that's kind of my whole spiel on picking your full tang. These are really probably the top 4 that I carry. This is my newest one. I just recently made a video about it. It's kind of like a mini beast, but it's pretty sweet. But yeah, but obviously it is important as well. It's not that complex of a choice and situations. You want to make sure you get it right, because you also, obviously, as it comes down to it, you'll probably spend additional money you don't need to. If you're carrying something like this, you really don't need to buy the Benchmade Infidel. That's saving you like $400 right there. So unless you just are making buku dollars and you can just go buy whatever you want, then never mind. Definitely just go buy all of them. That's what I would do. So but yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you could give me a thumbs up. Also, whatever your opinions are, if you like those 3 categories that I kind of came up with, let me know. If you don't, also let me know, and let me know any other really good fixed blades that I should be carrying. Obviously, I'm always shopping. I do have others in the shopping cart kind of ready to go, but let me know if you have any other really good suggestions. So with that being said, I'll see y'all next time.